This is Mocktails Are Messy with Ryan Frankowski and
Kelly Mizgorski.
This is our oldest friend in New York, Fernando J. Garcia. Welcome to Mocktails.
Hi, thank you for having
Fernando.
me. I'm very excited to be here.
So Fernando is a fashion designer. He is the founder of Monste, co-creative director of Oscar de la Renta.
He said that I'm the oldest friend, and
Oh,
how dare she?
I want to say one of my longest friends in New York,
Yes,
Fernando.
It's all good.
That is not how we treat our guests.
You're very busy this time of year, and can you give us a little insight on what's going on?
We just wrapped up, everybody calls Fashion Week, but it is 4 times a year for us, regardless of it being Fashion Week or not. And it's always chaotic, very exciting for the design team because you get to see the fruit of the labors, you know, when you work on something for a very long time. And for us, it's like 3 or 4 months a year. It's painful, but it's also very rewarding to put it out there. And I'm launching Oscar today after I launched Monste last week. So rewarding for both teams.
I know that you are a Notre Dame graduate, and today I'm wearing my Notre Dame sweater. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it. I miss going back for the games, but very close to my heart. I think that my closest friends are still my friends from Notre Dame.
You actually studied architecture at Notre Dame. What was the pivotal moment that led you to the fashion industry?
I actually always wanted to be in fashion. I just didn't have the guts to do it when I was studying architecture. It was a good way for me to convince my parents to do something slightly creative that wasn't totally gay. Then I went to Notre Dame. I worked really hard to get into a good school in America. I remember like the focus that I had when I was in high school when I realized that I needed to get into a good school in order for me to like get the best possible like future for myself. And it wasn't that Notre Dame connected me to anything that led me to fashion. It was just I surrounded myself with free thinkers, people that understood that in order to like be happy in your way, you had to pave your own career. Nobody else is going to do it for you. And it led me to believe in myself enough to internship at Oscar, and then I worked my way up.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, from growing up outside of the U.S., and then you really had that dream in mind to go to one of the best schools for not only architecture, but most impressive programs across the board.
I am very proud. And I think that it is apparently like memeable how Notre Dame people are about how proud they are. Like, like no one asks, and then they go, "I went to Notre Dame." It is something really close to my heart. I am very proud of it, and I definitely had a focus on a good school, and that was the right choice.
Now, do you mind telling us a bit about your childhood and your background before Notre Dame?
Sure. So I was raised in the Dominican Republic. I came from a family of Spanish people. So my life as a kid was split between going to Spain in the summers and the aspirational American dream that my parents had for themselves by going to New York on Christmases. So it was very like divided between like, you know, honor your past, but look towards the future. And yeah, me and my sisters always clicked with the city and making it here. So it was very like early age, like determined for me that I was going to find a way to live in New York. And Notre Dame was the most perfect way to like navigate myself in Americana culture before I came to New York. I think that it would have been probably a little too aggressive of a transition between the Dominican to New York. And I hate to call Notre Dame University a transitional phase in my life, but it was. You know, like it helped me, surround myself with like caring but very ambitious people. And I feel like the caring part of it like was dropped as soon as I got to New York. Everybody here is just like aiming for what they want, and so that's how I was brought up and how I got here.
I was wondering if you could give us some styling tips. So what is your advice for an hourglass body type?
Can I be frank? I think it's more about the person's individuality. If anybody takes an answer from me without knowing you, that's the wrong answer. I think it's about expressing your individuality. Like at the end of the day, what Fernando Garcia tells you to wear is not going to make you feel as good as what you feel like wearing. It is important for you to feel that you're expressing what you like about yourself and what you like to put on. It'll make you feel better than anything that I could say that will make you feel flattered.
That's the best answer, actually.
Honestly, and that's like a very like, I don't know, cheesy answer, but it's just honestly the truth. Like, I wear black every day and I'm made fun of every day. But nobody will be able to be like, Fernando, you're going to look great in the new Bottega Veneta collection because it's full of this color and all that. And I'm like, I'm sure that will please you, but it won't please me. I am surrounded by so much energy and color and excitement in my life on a daily basis. I'm very blessed. And I could care less what I put on my body. So because I have so much other fulfillment, I want to be a blank slate because of how much like information comes to me every day. So I want to like just like soak up everything else.
That's a cool answer. You have you're good at this.
I know.
You have a lot of cool answers.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not obviously like prepared to do this often. I was late, like forget it.
Did you get your cocktail that you recommended?
No, I didn't have time. I just ran through the door.
See, now if you were coming to the studio, we would have had one ready for you. I'm drinking the Aperol Spritz.
Yes, we have
cheers.
Aperol Spritzes.
We want to cheers to Fernando for coming in. So I'm doing the mocktail equivalent to the Aperol Spritz. It is a New Zealand sparkling brut, de-alcoholized, and then we have the Aperol equivalent Wilderton. It's a non-alcoholic botanical spirit. Now, Fernando, I'm curious, you ever dabble with the mocktails, or is that like something that is like not in your vocabulary?
No, I've tried it. It's definitely something new, and they're impressive. And the bad cred that they have for not being, cool because they don't have alcohol. They're very enjoyable, so I'm a fan.
In my New York days, 5 years ago, it felt like every night it was happy hour. I think whenever I transitioned to the LA lifestyle, everybody was so much more health conscious.
There's nobody that can knock down how amazing it feels when your brain is refreshed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody. So I understand the New Yorker who will put down the LA person, but I think that there's nothing that can be replaced with feeling really fresh. Yeah. And I think that, you don't have to be totally sober. There can be a balance,
Yeah.
So it's good to have a little bit of both.
Especially
I'm with
your
Fernando on this one.
You to be able to accomplish so many things that you have. You're not boozing like we used to maybe in our early 20s.
It has to do a little bit with my upbringing. I will credit my, for a lack of a better expression, non-American parents for this. Sorry. But they were never considering alcohol as something that needed to be prohibited. And because you never had that, prohibition, it was never considered the devil. It was just around and never tempting to me growing up because it was never something that I wasn't allowed to do. So as a kid, that kind of thinking is important because when I got to Notre Dame, I had a glass of wine or a beer before I got to Notre Dame, but there's this thing called, and I'm sorry to my Notre Dame family, but there was a thing called disso as a freshman. Do you guys know what disso is?
No,
I've heard of it.
I've never heard of that.
Disso is disorientation as opposed to orientation.
Okay.
When you enter a college.
Yes.
So in Turtle Creek, which doesn't exist anymore, I was told, which is the first immediate off-campus campus, meaning where there's no jurisdiction for the ND law. That's where they took all the freshmen to get them wasted on their first week or two or month of Notre Dame. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but whatever. I'm sure it's obliterated and no longer existing. But yeah, they would just like take the freshmen to like bond with them, the upperclassmen. And they would like just like force us to drink. And I remember that was the first time I like puked. And I was just like, what is this culture where drinking is like the first thing to think to do when you get to the school? I wasn't raised the way to drink alcohol. I think it's just another beverage, and everything in life should be like, balanced.
It is very psychological, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that we were so restricted in the United States, like, it would be more desirable to do something that was restricted.
I wasn't told not to drink when I was growing up. So it was, in my eyes as a child, when you're told don't do that, that's the first thing you want to do. Mm-hmm. So I was just like never told. I was told don't sleep with girls, and I'm like, honey, I took that to the grave. I'm a gay man now. A year or two ago, I went through a little bit of a sad phase, and I was never that kind of person that like went through like depression, but I did, and it can find you, and it can like mess up with like your progress with that. So that would be my advice: is to keep your closest friends aware that when you're sad, don't let alcohol around you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through hard times in life.
Yeah,
so.
They do.
Yeah, I can relate. I think like, having a death in my family, I kind of was pulling on the drinks.
Okay, let's lighten up the mood now. So I like how you said you go to work with like the all black because it's a blank slate. What's inspiring you through your design?
For Laura and me, it is usually, first and foremost, something that we haven't seen. Very much probably like you guys, right? Like there's new blood out there to interview. I don't know anything about this type of person or field, and I want to like discover it. Same thing goes for us. Like whenever we see everybody's collections throughout the year, and I myself have gone through the revolving door of, going through a nostalgic phase and, this 90s moment needs to be relived. We all are saturated with images. And there's an instinctual thing that happens with a designer where they're like, I miss this color. I haven't seen this crop top. I remember this sweater from my childhood. And all of these things every season are refreshed in your mind. And it just forces you to like dump it on a piece of paper or talk about it with your team. Yeah, and something new comes from that.
What do you think we might be seeing more of in 2024?
No, I'm not Nostradamus. It's not like that. I actually think that I'm...
Because I want more cheetah print.
It's just much more in the present moment than you guys might think. Like, I just had a conversation about the new collection today with my team, and I got really excited, and I got inspired from the words and reactions that they had over this idea and how to make it innovative and fresh and fun. And it happened within an unprecedented, 1 hour meeting that we didn't even know we were going to have today. And yeah, so like within a second, which wasn't planned in my day today, I have like 10 different roads to go on for the next collection, and 8 of those will fail. And it's really fun, also can be expensive to have all those failing roads, but when the two of them are left that are amazing, that's the new collection. That's the thing that everybody in your team and your sales team and your design team and your CEO, when the left and the right side of the brains of the company are in sync in what the vision is, then you have a way to have a career. You can't just be this artist that like sketches on the side and paints and whatever and thinks that everything just is going to sell on its own. No, you got to motivate your sales team. You got to think about how the hell you're going to produce it. You better know how this is going to get to the stores and ship on time. Like, so it does take a lot of like chipping down to get to that like core of the collection, where everybody in your company and your team agrees that's the way forward.
Who is always challenging you?
Laura.
Your partner. So you guys are a good yin and yang that kind of understand each other but are very different.
When you find somebody in life that, no matter what profession, can spit it at you with all of the heart in the world and your feelings are not hurt, you better grab onto that person.
Yeah.
Because that person's going to make you grow and make you improve. And if they receive it as well, then you're set. Laura and I met in 2009 when I graduated from Notre Dame. And I met her because I had an opportunity to meet Oscar. I showed him some sketches and he offered me an internship, but he insisted on me meeting this girl that I didn't know at all called Laura. And I was like, why are we talking about this random girl? Anyway, he had foresight and understood that there was going to be an interesting dynamic between the two of us. And it worked. Like, it doesn't mean that it's always going to work when you have a gut instinct, because she and I are very different. But it worked. We were strong enough to deal with harsh criticism, which is a lot to say because not a lot of people can handle that. And I love harsh criticism, especially coming from people that love me.
Yes.
I really, really do. It actually, my gasoline. So she and I were just like addicted to that energy that we had for each other. And we were at a very pivotal time in our careers where we both needed that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're trying to do.
We feel that yin and yang, what you're describing with your partner, and just trying to navigate the beginning stages.
You both have very similar like cores. I think that as long as you guys have a similar goal and differences of opinions, it'll be a really fun ride.
Do you feel like you butt heads a lot, or
every day?
Every day.
Okay, yeah.
No, I mean, I bring up the differences of opinion is really important. Like, you guys are going to be bored to death if you guys are too similar. So I want you to make sure that you both value each other's cores and have similar goals, but you better make it fun and interesting. Otherwise, it's just going to be like a mirror. That's why Laura and I have been able to like make our lives like exciting at the same time, because we surprise each other every collection with like our new ideas. And I have to say, it must be similar to what like couples are like when they keep their sex life interesting. Our sex life is our work.
Yeah.
So if you bore me and I bore, like, I better like spark up and like make it fun.
Now, speaking of your sex life, who's the lucky guy? Who are you dating right now?
I'm dating the city. Don't worry.
Okay, Carrie Bradshaw. I felt like there was this Peter Pan effect when I lived in New York.
It still exists.
It still does? Okay.
Yeah. I think that it is very attractive to me when anybody has a passion like you guys have, and not very many do. Like, and so they all have this like insatiable need to stay young forever. And to me, that's like not that sexy, if I'm honest with you.
I got out of a 5-year relationship and I am so happy to be single, and I don't really see like the desire to be in a relationship anymore.
I think you need to do whatever your gut tells you. But I also think that, if something like knocks me off and I'm going to be like besotted by that person, I'll give it a shot. There's a lot of Peter Pans.
Yeah. Well, and you don't want somebody to slow you down.
I wouldn't let them get in that far. It's just that it's boring.
I totally understand that.
If I hear somebody else come to me and say, oh, I wish I had a creative job, I'm like, get something fun for yourself.
Yeah,
like,
go out and do something about it.
Do it. You do it.
I was just thinking, like, everybody's like, oh, I really want a creative job. And I was like, well, the only problem is your corporate job is holding you back because you're getting used to that regular income that might be, more important to you, the money.
And if it's important to you, then I think that you should celebrate that. I actually think that it is offensive for people that, like, let's say, as an example, in finance, say, oh, I wish I was doing something more creative. I'm like, bitch, you probably like own 4 houses and you are probably happy, and you're just like saying that because you want to say that. But I think that you should reverse this and celebrate whatever it is that you're good at and live a happy life instead of complaining about it.
Great.
I feel like you're really making my brain like tick right now. Like, you've just been saying so many impactful things that not
Really?
everybody, yes, that like people don't really, it's like, it almost is like common sense to you, but I don't think it's common sense to the rest of the world.
And we want to know, we want a little insight on, how to inspire us and other people to get to that level.
I think that as long as you just like don't lie to yourself about who you are and what you're good at, you will become very attractive to people. It isn't an embarrassing thing to say that you're good at pole dancing. It isn't an embarrassing thing to say that you are a fanatic of Lord, like whatever it is that you find to not be appropriate for today's like world to be successful at. Forget that.
So you think OnlyFans is not a bad idea?
It is whatever God has given you, and those are your tools. And I will never be someone to mock you or judge you, because that's what you are meant to be in this planet for.
Who inspires you?
You too.
No, don't lie.
Liar.
Who inspires me? I think that the women in my life. I think that people that live their truest selves. I'm a big fan of the film industry, and I adore and become friends with a couple of very talented actresses. And it's a hard job to be in that world. And I relate in the competition and in the constant need to stay fresh and the insatiable need to be relevant. So those are the people that keep the wheels turning, even on a weekend, are the ones that inspire me.
Also, do you mind sharing like what looks have helped define you?
Looks as far as like my work?
Yes.
What were the most like important moments in my design career? I remember when I did this Photoshop for Oscar, and I was still his assistant, and I found a picture of some like jewelry on a book, and I photocopied it and I scanned it and I put it on a paper doll that I printed out, and I showed it to him, and it was a jewelry collection, and I think that was 2012. It was the first time that I like influenced his collection as a whole, and it became the jewelry themed collection. And I was young. I was in my 20s, and it moved me to the point where I was like, oh, I think I can like do this. Not just like make one little dress for him or, help this celebrity or whatever. Like I can do this.
That is so specific. Yeah.
That was in 2012. And after that, developing a new brand with Laura, rediscovering who we are as artists outside of a brand, having Selena Gomez, who was having a moment too at that time where our first collection of a brand new brand, without any help from anybody, just her just choosing a brand new brand out of nowhere and wearing all of it. That was another defining moment. And then after that, I think that like dressing Anna Wintour for the 2020 Met Gala or 2021, whatever it was, for the Met, and only 2 other designers have ever designed something for Anna for the Met. I think those 3 benchmarks were big.
I do remember seeing you when I was working at a house. I was doing interior design in LA, and I saw you actually going into the house of one of the people you were working for. And I was like, Fernand. And then my colleague was like, shut the fuck up. You don't scream out of the window. Like, yeah, it might be your friend. And it was just so funny. And I was like,
who was it?
It was Paris.
Oh, Paris. So Nikki is my best friend. She is an angel that came in my life.
And she lives in New York.
Yeah. I see her all the time. She is an angel because she came into my life at a point where it was overwhelming for me and Laura. You know, we were assistants or, you know, behind the scenes people. And when we got the job, it was a lot. We were flown everywhere. We were told to go to every party and meet everybody. And I was 28 years old, right? Imagine. But Nikki, similar to me, was just like hiding in a corner of the party. And I wanted to hide in the corner of the party too. And so we've been like attached at the hip since, because she had a little bit more know-how and still hated everybody. And so we just like couldn't stop laughing with each other. And so like Laura, she became another like lifeline. And you know, we're there for each other to support each other. I've seen her kids grow up literally from the belly to 7 years old. She's one of the most important people in my life. And so, yeah, I see Paris often thanks to her, but she's, you know, she's part of the reason why I'm still here.
Yeah, definitely. It was just like, I mean, I do find Nikki so interesting how she just could care less about.
No, Nikki cares. But, you know, we also understand that like energy with a very busy life that we both have has to be spent intelligently with the right people. And we are very devout, very loyal to those people. So I needed a little bit of guidance in the beginning, and now, thanks to her, we're both, you know, there.
Nice.
That's a true friend. Any friend that stays with someone through their pregnancies and all those different stages of life.
Oh yeah, like I was with her for all of her pregnancies. I was even with her when she told me that she was pregnant on the last one. I was the first person she told. I'm very much in love with her family and very much a part of it.
Yeah.
The sun is going down and I feel like I'm getting darker.
You are.
Yes, you are. We're losing you. Perfect. There he is.
So when did you move?
Okay.
You said you just moved to your apartment?
I moved like 2 months ago, but Fashion Week took over and I haven't done anything to it. So it's a bit of a blank slate, and you know, I'm gonna start getting stuff and paint and, you know, making more me.
What made you choose your apartment?
Okay, so funny story is Nikki found this apartment. She lives 2 blocks away from me, and when I showed her something that my other bestie, Jesse, who is my realtor and closest friend, is hunting down an apartment for me. and he found something really good for me, maybe like a 20-minute walk from Nikki's apartment. And when I told her in the group chat with Laura that I was like close to finding something, our around there. She goes within like 30 minutes, like types and like finds something. And she's like, what about this one? And I'm just like, bitch, I just went to that building. She's like, well, go see this one. And I'm like, okay. So I go to it and this is it. And it's 2 blocks away from her apartment.
That is the best. When you're so close that you could be like, there's no excuse to not get together.
All right. And so Jesse knew the building. He closed the deal. And now that's where I am.
Yeah, the last question I have for you is, what would you like to know about us? We just like to ask that.
My friends came over a month ago, and I love board games. And I'm leading to a question, I promise. But what they did with one of mine, which was the Jenga game, you know, the tower, was unprompted. They just deassemble it, and they start writing things on each key. And I'm like, what are you all doing? And what we're going to do is assemble the tower, and whoever picks out a key has to answer the question on the key. And so, you know, it's a combination of like naughty questions and probing and whatever. But one of them was really interesting to me, and it stuck in my mind. And I think that what I want to ask the 2 of you is one of the keys that I got in the Jenga board, which is, what scares you the most?
Mine is so generic. It's failing. But
At what?
just anything that I do, like this podcast. Just that we fail and it goes nowhere. And that's that.
Well, I think that you'll probably learn something if you do fail, but I doubt that you will. It's a very, like, I feel like it has such positivity. I would be surprised if it does.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just one of those people that just jump on to this, jump onto that, not being able to be sustainable or independent.
What do you both think about your answers?
Similar?
It is similar, and I feel like saying it out loud, like, yeah,
It
it's
does. It does do something to say it out loud, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like cathartic almost.
Like, I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
Okay, well, that was so cool. What the heck?
When I was asked that question in the Jenga game, I was surrounded by like the people who know me the best, right? And saying whatever I said out loud made me less scared of the scary thing. So that's my giveaway today, is anything that is standing in your way, as soon as you verbalize it and scream it, it becomes a little smaller.
That was super cool.
Do you have a book in the works?
No, I have too much shit going on to do a book, but yeah.
You do have a distinct laugh, and I know from the moment I met you, I love that. You are so cute.
It's like an aggressive, high-pitched one. Yeah,
It's like a stand-up comedian laugh. Like, so maybe that's the next venture for you.
Oh no, I respect them too much. That's too much for me.
We do appreciate so much you spending your precious time with us and allowing us to do this interview with you.
This was fun.
Yeah, Fernando, thank you so much for being on Mocktails Are Messy. I would love to get you a mocktail next time, or a cocktail, whatever you decide. I know you're a busy man, but we will definitely see you in New York.
You guys have fun, and thank you for having me.
You too.
Thank you, Fernando.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. This is Mocktails Are Messy.